Welcome to Talk with TQ. I love doing this particular show because I get to engage with people directly, face to face. And even with the COVID lockdown, even though we don't have people up here as we usually do in the studio, Zoom is our friend. And so today I'm so fortunate to be able to interview a fabulous artist. She's a visual artist and she's a performing artist, and she is in Kingston, New York. We have somebody that we know in common. This person that I know, her name is Mara Mills, and she's a director of performing arts. So Judith Zelda Miller is very intriguing because she is both, like I said before, a performing artist and also a visual artist. So tonight I'm going to talk to her all about some of the performances I've seen that she's done and some of her artwork. Welcome, Zelda. I can call you Zelda.
Well, okay, here's I know my name is a challenge because I got it. It's like you have an older name that you're known by all your life, which was Judith Z Miller, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided to go by Zelda about 5 years ago, which is my middle name.
Okay.
So to not lose everybody from my past, I write Zelda, AKA Judith Z Miller.
Okay, I got it.
But you can call me Zelda.
You can tell me Zelda. Okay. It's something about those of us that have those, what I refer to is the high score Scrabble letters in our name prominently. There's a Z over there with you, and there's a Q over here. That's a high score. I think it's worth 10 points. Okay. Anyway.
Hey, let's see who's going to win. Woo.
Let's see who's going to win it, right? Yeah. So I embrace your middle name, and I know the story about it. It was actually your grandmother's name, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I had never met her, but I feel like I needed to embrace the strength of those women of my ancestors. That, like, just think about coming to this country, you know, as an immigrant, hungry, you know, terrified, you know, and I try to honor the strength of those people, and those people who are continuing now. So.
But isn't it also a tradition, and I'm going to get to one of your performances that I saw, it's a tradition in the Jewish religion to name a newborn after the last person in the family who died.
Well, I'm not, you know, I now you know more than I do.
Oh.
I'm sure you know a lot of things more than I do. I think I only knew that it was that the only way they could name me Zelda was that she had died. Like, otherwise it would be against the religion to name someone who is still alive, name a child after someone who is still alive.
But I think that's a wonderful story because it's, you bring in your grandmother into your existence, you bring her name into your creativity. So tell me, how did you become an artist? Like, what made you decide to become a performing artist? And I'm making an assumption here that you're a performing artist first. But I could be wrong.
You're right. I was a performer first. And it was because I was in a Gestalt therapy class. Okay. Well, first I have to start this with, my brother was the biggest agent for kids on Broadway when I was growing up. Right. And he took me to like amazing shows. Like, it was such an incredible experience, but he also took me backstage, and I met those really nasty stage mothers, Broadway stage mothers, and their snobby kids. And I was like, I will never go into the theater. This is horrible. These people are terrible. I don't want to be like them, even though the music and the dancing was great. So then I got into Gestalt therapy. And when I was, if you know what it is, it's work where you sit in two chairs, right? And you imagine that you're over here, for instance, talking to your grandmother, okay? And then you switch chairs and then you go back and forth, okay? And so when I was in therapy, they said, in Gestalt therapy, when I was switching, I would change characters completely. And they'd go, you should be an actor. And I'd be like, nah. You know, but then I was walking down the street and I saw this window, and it said, the acting process, inquire within. And when I inquired within, was the most beautiful woman I ever met in my life, the most incredible actress, director, right?
Mm.
And I started studying with her, and it was incredible.
So it's interesting when I talk to people that are in the arts or mostly any field, but I always find it interesting with people in the arts, and very often it's in an area of the arts that I'm not in, how they actually became artists. It almost seems like it happens. I want I I'm going to venture to use the word magical. It almost seems like it happens magically, and it ushers you into it even though you haven't planned that. It's an unplanned thing.
Not even, not in my case, not only unplanned, but unwanted,
Oh,
because I didn't want to be like those people that I met. I didn't want to be in that world. And then I discovered like more like radical theater. And so it was very different than Broadway.
how did you discover that?
Well, I met this woman behind the desk, this beautiful,
Oh,
this gorgeous redhead, blue-eyed, incredible, vibrant. I was like, oh, okay, I'll take a class.
so did you feel comfortable? Was it comfortable for you to just get up there and just, not everybody can do that. They say it's a primal fear.
Well, for me, I think the reason that I still have a lot of fear, I still have a lot of stage fright, a lot.
Mhm.
But I think you begin to see it as a ritual, as an offering. Like that's what we were processing in our workshops. We were like, she made it so that it was a sacred space. So when you enter the space, you leave everything else behind, and we're creative in here. And we let everything happen, within certain boundaries. And we just danced and we yelled and we created weird theater, and it was so different than Broadway musicals.
Non-judgmental.
Yeah,
Very
very encouraging and freeing. Yeah.
freeing. And another performance you did that I found very moving. It was very moving that when I was watching, I found myself getting a little choked up, just sort of trying to empathize, with what you were discussing about what you had gone through, and your parents realizing that you were gay, that you were not a straight woman, and just the way you described it. I have to say you're a very good actress, and I would say that you embraced the Stanislavski method because you were there, and it was very moving. What was it like for you to actually put that in writing and then put that in performance? It takes a lot of guts to put yourself out there. I know that personally, just in terms of standing in front of a camera, once a week. And for what you did, you really turned yourself inside out. It's talk about full frontal.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. When I talk about the show, I say there's a lot of things in there I don't want you to know.
Mm.
I honestly, I'm feeling myself tearing up right now. I did not want to share these things, but I felt that if I were to be ruthlessly honest, and just like put the shit out there and not worry about if my reality and my life experience was valid enough or not. So I decided I was like, pardon my language, it just reveal. And then if you're ruthlessly honest, others can be too. That's my whole, theme, I guess, is, love yourself and be willing to be yourself.
To be yourself is a gift to others. They don't have to figure out what you really mean if you say what you really mean.
Yeah. Right on. Can I just
say? Yeah. I'm thinking about your performance, and it's kind of like your parents couldn't tell you what they were really thinking, and so they whispered it to each other, kind of thing. What was your father's name? Sid? Was
Sydney? Yes,
Sid?
Sydney.
Sid. And she whispers it. And I said, my goodness, it would be really good if she could say it out loud and just be proud of it instead of whispering it. So what was that like for you?
Yeah, well, but back in the day, I mean, like even today in many places, even in the United States and the world, it's that bad and a million times worse.
Yeah.
But I mean, people are being killed, you know. And in the United States, people are being killed, especially Black trans women are being killed on the streets every day. You know, so I feel like it's not like this theoretical thing, you know, about being, I have the privilege of being out. I do. It is a privilege because I can't lose a job. There's no job for me to lose. Okay. So I just said, okay, I'm going to do it. And, you know, people have heard worse.
Find performing your piece to be cathartic for you? Because I got to say, you're like so passionate. It's like it grips you, your performance. It's very good performance, but you're so passionate that there's no way people could not relate to how you feel, because every child has had a moment of wanting to be accepted, and every person has had a moment where they have to exercise a certain amount of guts, a certain amount of chutzpah to just be themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
I admire you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. I am humbled that you see it. Thank you for seeing, you know, what I'm doing.
People have problems, I've learned over the years, and also with interviewing people. There are people that have things that they don't discuss about themselves, that go everywhere from being, let's say, a transgender, lesbian, gay, whatever, being bulimic, you know, being a lot of different things. People have a lot of secrets. And I know for a fact it takes a lot of guts to come out and say what it is. You might feel that it might be unintentional for you, that you're kind of like a spokeswoman for a lot of different people, not just people that go through the challenges in life that you do. I was very moved by the fact that you were able to have the guts to just say it. You know, even though there might be something that everybody's holding inside that they don't want to say, it might not be exactly what you're going through, but I think that your performance speaks for itself more than even the topic. It's just the fact that you could turn yourself inside out like that. I'm going to ask you this question. Did you have any kind of direction for anybody for the performance, or are you self-directed for the performance?
Pretty much self-directed. I did have some people who, one person in particular helped me with the script, Rain Grayson, who is a trans man. And I really appreciated that because, you know, your own experience is a personal experience, and we're all like racist, sexist, homophobic, fearful in some way, even if we don't even know it. So if you don't have somebody look at it and say, you know, is this like cool, or like, is this gonna, like, a million people gonna freak out because I offended them? Is how do I write this so I say the truth? How do I write the truth? You know, but be conscious. It's hard, you know.
And then you actually speak it. Now, have you found that what's going on right now in our country, in the United States, because this show goes a lot of different places, and we're actually in the New York metropolitan area. For anybody else who might be watching, do you ever find that do you ever find that people critique you about something and you find that it's from a place of ignorance? Because you were so candid about it. I mean, I've seen people come on here and have practically script everything, you know, and then I have to break through. And then there's everybody else. You're with the everybody else where you just let it all hang out.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good thing. Are you happy about that? Is that something that you intend?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I don't know how to okay, this has been my experience in my life. I'm walking down the street in New York City. A young woman and I are like somehow talking to each other. Oh, because I always have a big dog. So we have some conversation. I find out that she's a budding artist, and she says to me, oh, but I'm really not very good. I really don't think my work will ever be blah, 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 down, down, down.
Mhm.
And then I'll meet a young guy. It's like, yeah, let me tell you about my shit. Let me tell you about it. It's so rad. So when I would meet these young women, I would
Mhm.
have a conversation about their value and that they need to help respect themselves and know that if they are creating it, it is of value and to not diminish it. So I feel like my purpose almost is to emulate that or to embody that.
And it's evident in your work. So tell me about like what kind of process you went through to do these videos. Now I'm going to go back to the one you did for Passover.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the one that caught my attention, around Passover, Easter. That was like, to me, I'm like, listen to her, I can believe it. I think it also is interesting that you do a lot of colors in your hair, and colors are very symbolic to an artist.
Yeah.
And the first thing I saw was the red, white, and blue. That's what comes out to me first. And I saw, no, you're putting a lot more into it. What was this evolution like? Because I know that I'm talking to somebody that was somebody's little girl. What has this evolution been like for you? And also, I noticed you chose some platforms. You chose
Wait,
LinkedIn.
wait, wait, wait. I can't answer more than one question. Wait. Can I answer one? Because I'm forgetting. I've been wanting to say this. Can I answer with something a little bit different that maybe okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm looking at your artwork, which is very interesting to me about like I'm looking at someone who's looking at me through her artwork, looking at me, it's like metaphysical going on in here. And but before I met you, I took a look at at that book that you wrote about self-portraiture
Yes.
as being healing. And I didn't have a chance to really read it, but I was thinking about it and I listened a little bit to what you were talking about. And I think our artwork is similar, at least in some ways, in that I started doing a lot of my work that I now do in black, white, fluorescent paint. I do it as self-portraiture.
Mm-hmm.
And it started both a healing and a spiritual process together. It was, and I've been thinking about teaching workshops about it, So I just feel like the very process of working on the physical body, like actually representing yourself, and then creating something on top of that, like I make myself glow. It's like and then I started to build these collages. They've all grown from the spiritual place of self-portraiture, but trying to go higher on a spiritual level. So
It's interesting that it's a spiritual thing. I wrote my thesis on self-actualized portraiture, and it's something that means a lot to me. I think that your work, no matter what it is, it's always a little piece of yourself and sometimes a big piece of yourself. How did you find that the self-portraiture helped you to, I guess, I don't know that you needed to heal. Did you need to heal?
I think that my work is always in response to crisis. I'll be honest with you. It's like if I get in a crisis, I start creating something, like, or if I like really, it's like, but also what happens is I get in a crisis, I dance, I pray, I chant, I start making some artwork, and then I like paint myself, and then I'll take pictures of myself, and then, like in fluorescent paint, and then I'll have that printed out, and then I'll paint on top of that, and then I'll show it under black light and it glows. It's really cool.
Yeah,
It's
I can definitely imagine. So you're actually with the International Women Arts Salon with
yeah,
Heidi
yeah.
Russell, and she has exhibits periodically. So you don't remember we have met before.
Really?
Oh yes, we have. But it's okay. It's okay. But we're meeting now. I feel like I'm meeting you for the first time, even though I've
Yeah.
met you before, and I have seen your work before. And I people don't know this, but this, I kind of troll a little bit the internet. And I'm not a cyber stalker, but I do follow artists and I watch their evolution, and
Wow.
there's a certain point where I feel that I'm ready to talk to them about their work.
Wow. That's really cool.
and you were kind of like that, because I have seen your work before, and I think we might have even exhibited in the same exhibit in the
Huh.
past.
Huh.
But we'll talk about that another time. But
Okay.
so you say that you actually find that the self-portraiture is healing.
I think I want to, I think I would use the word necessary.
Oh,
For me, it's like, okay, I'm going to go back. Okay. I used to have a photograph that I cut out of a magazine, and it's a 4-part sculpture, right? And they look like people, gesture figures, is looking up, and the other one's looking in another direction. They're all looking out. They look searching. They're searching. I cut it out. I put it on my altar. Whenever I moved, I put it in a prominent location. I didn't know who the artist was. And then one day I was gazing upon it, and I thought to myself, I want to be inside of that sculpture, like an artist. Often practices how to become a character by embodying a particular sculpture and seeing how they would feel in that physical body position, and then evolving a character from that. So what I did was I wanted to go inside the sculpture and look out of the person's eyes, who was the sculpture, and learn their wisdom. I wanted to know what it was. So I had my girlfriend at the time take pictures of me naked in the exact same position as was these 4 characters. And then I printed them out, and then I painted on top of them. So I became them through that. And then I started painting all these glowing things out of them. And I didn't know why. And then there's a long story about then I became a healer because of a shaman that I met. Anyway, it's too long to tell.
It was a huge process. It was a huge spiritual process.
Yeah.
It sounds like, and you didn't fight it.
I did have some fighting moments. I did have some. I was afraid moments.
So let me ask you this: you're in Kingston, New York, and that's like almost right outside of Woodstock.
Yeah.
Did you ever exhibit there on Tinker Street? Do they have galleries there anymore? It's all about Kingston.
I mean, there are galleries there.
Does it eclipse Kingston and that art community? Because there's an art community there too.
No. I think, look, I mean, it's very difficult to talk about these things during COVID.
Yeah.
Right. But prior to COVID, and still things happening, and still, Zooming, everything. I would always be shocked at the kinds of things I would go to in Kingston. I'd be like, whoa, this is like really happening up here.
Yeah.
You know?
Who
Yeah.
knew?
I've only lived here for 5.5 years, I think. So, I'm not like an old timer. I don't have perspective, but I was surprised.
Where did you create your art before?
I lived for a year up in the Adirondack Mountains, and that was scary. I mean, it was great. It was beautiful. But look at me. I was Jewish and queer. And, a lot of locals.
Was there any point where you felt accepted?
I felt accepted by certain groups of people or certain individual people.
You have a lot of guts, Zelda, to live up there. I have to take my hat off to you for that. It takes a lot of guts.
Well, I only lasted a year. It didn't take that much guts.
Well, you lasted a year. Some people don't last at all, and you're true to yourself. Where is your art? Where can someone see your art if they want to see your art?
Well, this is one of the reasons I didn't even want to have this conversation, because I'm embarrassed.
Don't be embarrassed.
Reason I'm embarrassed, because I have a website, but it's not really updated. It's like this horrible story because I've been focusing on my show. So my artwork, the best thing to do is look at me as on Facebook as Judith Z Miller. And also, if you go to Que Sera show.com, show.com. That's Que Sera show.com. Yeah, everybody has a memory about that show.
Yes,
I mean about that song. Sorry.
That song is very, very zen. You know, that's the way I think of it, and I'm trying to be more like that every day. It's not always so easy, but so your show, you have a show coming. So where could somebody see your performance work and or your visual artwork?
Okay, so right now, you can watch the show for free or by donation. And wouldn't that be nice if you wanted to watch it, you gave a donation? That would be nice. It goes right to me. It's playing at the Midsummer Festival in Australia. It's like this huge queer festival, and the biggest gay festival in Australia. So it's like lots of art stuff happening. So it's streaming 24/7, and well, just go to queserashow.com, and you'll be able to see the show.
And so I'm going to assume that it's QUESERA.
Yeah, show.com.
QUESERASHOW.com, y'all. Go there. You know, I just want to sort of close this out to people know that I want them to follow you and find out what you're doing, because you're quite something. You are. Like, what should we be looking forward to? What can we expect from you next?
Oh my God. Well, I'm hoping I'm hoping and praying I can perform the show live, right? Okay. So if you hear of it happening live, or if you go on my website, you can sign up for my mailing list. For instance, one thing I did was there's a group called Ruach, which just happens to be a Jewish group of healers and helpers, and they give services for free. And so I did a little webinar for them so that they would learn more about the queer experience, you know. And I hope to do more of that. And then we talked after the show, you know, and it was cool. It was cool.
It sounds like you're being really generous. You're being generous of spirit.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like it was an opportunity. I wanted them to see my show, and I want my show to help heal and help inspire.
Yes.
So those people, for instance, they could see the show, or maybe if you happen to be in the LGBTQAIA spectrum, or you know anybody who is, or you ever heard of anybody who was, or you think you might be, well, you could watch it too.
And they can go to queserashow.com, right?
Yeah.
Que Sera show. Don't make me sing it now. Want you to remember Que Sera show. So go there, and I'm going to tell the audience that you're the best. You're all over there, and I like it that you do so much stuff. You're so honest. You're authentic.
Thank you, darling.
Zelda.
I'm so glad this was fun.
I promised you that, you know. I'm chills. I'm not stressing anybody. Come back, okay? You'll come back.
Okay.
And I'm going to say goodbye to Zelda Miller. I'm calling her Zelda because we got it like that.
Just go for it. Go for it.
And I'll tell the audience, thank you again for coming to the show, to listen to me, to listen to my guests, to see my guests. And I'll see you next time on the next Talk with TQ. Yes. Bye-bye. Stay safe. Be nice. Bye-bye. Be nice.